Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
That's right, everybody. It is the NX 7062 podcast, and we are back on the air. I am so excited. I'm excited that we're doing live YouTube. For anybody that used to follow me on Spreaker, what I'm going to be doing now is we're going to be live YouTube every Monday night, and then I will rip the audio, and then people can listen to it on Spreaker if they don't, while they're driving, because you can't watch something while you're driving. So I want to make sure that people can enjoy my podcast and stay safe on the roads. So that's the plan. Oh, and look, it's Podcat. He is making his first appearance this season. I was wondering, he was in here earlier while I was setting everything up, and I was wondering if he was going to come back in time to see you all. And there he is. And along with Podcat, my guest Ryan T. Husk is joining me tonight. Hi, Ryan.
Well, hello there.
Thank you so much for joining me for the inaugural edition of the NX 7062 podcast, season 3.
Well, I'm happy to do it since Podcat's here too.
Yes, exactly. That's probably what it was. Say hi, Podcat.
He or she is adorable.
Thank you. His real name, his full nickname, I have decided is Shuttle Podcat 1, but his real name is Kal-El.
Oh, like Superman?
Exactly, like Superman.
Okay.
Yes, because I have pets named after all of my fandoms. My dog is named Anakin. And a cat that I got a couple years ago, I named Reed after my favorite Star Trek characters.
Oh, he's your favorite?
Lieutenant Malcolm Reed, yes.
Wow.
Yes, he is my
favorite. Can I ask why?
Well, A, Enterprise. B, British. C, I honestly, part of it is that I got friendly with Connor and Dominic over the last couple of years going to conventions. And I don't know. There's something about Reed. He's sort of like almost like a little bit of an underdog in a way. I feel like, especially since I've been rewatching Enterprise thanks to Heroes and Icons. Not that I don't have the Blu-ray, but that I've been rewatching it. I just feel so bad for him. I feel like he wasn't a very strong armory officer. It just seemed like every time he tried to do something, it got screwed up. And I don't know. There's just something I find very endearing about the character. So.
And so he was your favorite. Wow.
So he is my favorite Star Trek. Out of all of Star Trek, he is my favorite. And we are joined by our first live person this evening, and happens to be a very good friend of mine. Hello, Magic Lasso. He is a friend of mine, and I urge anybody that tunes in either now or later, if you are a comic book fan, which I am as well. I have other fandoms besides Star Trek, but comic books are one of my other things. And he has an amazing YouTube channel. He does these great unboxings where he gets people send him just mystery boxes of comics, and he opens them, and then we all get to see what he gets. And it's very cool. He's gotten some really, really nice Bronze and Golden Age comics usually from the DC universe.
Ooh, that's fun stuff.
It is. And in case you can't tell by the name Magic Lasso, he's a huge Wonder Woman fan.
I was going to guess that, yeah.
It's pretty easy. But yeah, some people have sent him some really amazing older Wonder Woman comics. And you get to see all this cool stuff on his channel. So subscribe to me, but also go over and subscribe to Magic Lasso because he does some really cool stuff too. So let's talk conventions. Speaking of Connor and Dominic and just fun stuff that we haven't been able to do.
All right. On that subject, before we even get into what you were going to ask me or throw to the panel of 2 or 3 with Podcat, speaking of Connor and Dominic and conventions, guess who was the person that surprised me by his or her ability to recognize fans and remember their names?
Was it one of the people you just mentioned or somebody else?
Well, I'll give you a hint. It is an Enterprise actor.
It is? Well, it's not John Billingsley because he doesn't remember my name anytime. Oh, that's a story for later in the show. Is it Dominic? No. Okay.
It was Anthony Montgomery.
That was my next guess. I was actually going to say Anthony.
I don't know how he did it, but he just seemed to either he's just got a great memory for that kind of stuff, or he just really makes an effort to try to remember people and remember. I met him like once at a convention. You know, we talked. I mean, we had a good moment, like maybe 10 minutes or whatever. We spoke. We had fun. Everything was cool. But it was like a year later, like not a word for 365 days. Then a year later, I'm walking by his table at the convention. He goes, "Hey, Ryan, what's up?" And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
He's seen like 20,000 people since then. So I was pretty impressed. That major kudos to him for that kind of, you know.
You know, it's so funny because I'm not sure he knows my name. To be honest, I'm not sure I've ever actually like said, "Hi, I'm Stephanie" to him.
Well, he would have remembered it if you did.
Yeah, but he always remembers me. Like when he sees me, he always knows who I am. So that's always, and I understand, you know what, even if you don't remember my name, just to have somebody at a convention who's an actor who sees tens of thousands of people a year, just to even remember your face is still, I think, pretty cool. That somebody just can give you that moment of recognition, like, yeah, we talked before. Yeah, I remember you from last year or whatever. That's pretty cool. So I love that. But speaking of people who make the effort and who remember, and referring to the picture that we decided that you should be posting, today is the anniversary of Aaron Eisenberg's passing.
I had a feeling you met him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was also very good. And we just finished talking about that on our live tribute and commemoration for Aaron. And everybody was saying that he just had this uncanny ability. Well, it wasn't so much an ability, but an uncanny want to remember. Like he really made the effort to remember people, made it a point to do that.
Yeah, he did. I remember my first shore leave, which it's a Maryland convention. It's a really great convention. It's one of the ones that I always talk about here on the podcast, the smaller, more intimate conventions. I mean, I love Vegas, but the smaller, more intimate conventions always give you that extra opportunity to have conversations. And a couple years ago, Aaron and Chase did shore leave, and I had a chance to finally get down there. It was my first shore leave, and I got there just in time to see their panel.
Oh, cool.
Which was great. They are so funny together on stage. And then I had met Chase a couple times. So Chase absolutely remembered me, but that was the first time I had a chance to talk to Aaron and introduce myself. And we had an amazing, amazing chat. And the next time I think I saw him, I want to say Vegas or Albany. It's like everything just blends together over the last.
If you want to say it, just say it.
One of them, it was either Vegas or Albany, but he absolutely remembered who I was. And it's flattering and it's wonderful. And Aaron was such an amazing person. So we have to definitely put that out there because he was such a sweetheart. And I love seeing him every time. Podcat's playing with my bracelet right now. He's distracting me.
And that's okay.
It is okay. He's my unofficial producer. I have made Podcat the unofficial producer.
Associate producer.
Yes, exactly. And we definitely have to give a shout out before we go too far to your podcasts, which don't have a mascot yet, at least as far as I know. Does Seventh Roll have a?
I guess we don't.
You don't.
Mean, Aaron kind of was. He was like our cheerleader, like our go team go kind of guy, you know.
Right.
Now I think maybe it's Ciroc's ceiling fan is our mascot. Because Ciroc's ceiling fan is always in the picture.
Right.
But this was a podcast. It was Aaron's brainchild. Aaron Eisenberg, who played Nog on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Russ Hasledge of Odyssey Radio. Russ Hasledge was a friend of Gene Roddenberry's, and they created the Federation together many decades ago. Russ Hasledge still carries that on today, and he created an online radio station called Odyssey Radio, and he wanted Aaron to start a podcast through that. So Aaron had the idea to he wanted me to produce it, and he wanted to get another former Star Trek actor to come along with him. And one day he said, dude, what do you think about Ciroc? I'm like, dude, that's a perfect idea. He's like, he said yes, he wants to do it. And I'm like, really? I can't imagine a more perfect fit than Jake and Nog. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like Odo and Nog or Counselor Troy and Nog. You know, it's like Jake and Nog. I'm like, that it couldn't be more perfect. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm definitely in then. And we started that podcast. And there's Ciroc there. Also Kenneth Mitchell. God bless that man.
Oh, absolutely.
And Nikki DeBoer. God, I cannot get my right and left on this thing because it's mirror images. But anyway, so and Aaron passed away exactly 1 year ago today. And that was also the day before we were going to begin the second season of Deep Space Nine. So ever since that second season of Discovery and the first season of Deep Space Nine, we've kind of just been carrying on the torch. And there's really not a day that goes by that we don't think about him or incorporate him or say, oh my God, Aaron totally would have loved this part, or Aaron would have totally made fun of you for that bad joke, or whatever it is. It's like he's still the third person in the podcast.
And, you know, there's something I really want to say about Aaron and how he kind of fits into what we're doing today. But you told me I'm not allowed to talk about something that is happening tomorrow. So.
Okay, so shout out to tomorrow. Today, the seventh rule went dark, except for a live video commemoration with myself and Ciroc and Melissa and Armin Shimmerman. So we are holding off all public things until tomorrow. But that being said, stay tuned for tomorrow. We do have an announcement that is seventh rule related, and it's going to be pretty big, I think. And it's going to also be convention related.
Exactly. And it's definitely something everybody needs to tune into. And it's, and I'm, you know, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil anything. So
thank you.
But trust me, the NX 7062 podcast is totally behind what's happening. So I will say that.
That's also true.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, the podcasting community is like the convention community. We're all just one big happy family and we support each other. It's not like my podcast is competing against your podcast.
See, but you know what? That's not what I heard. Now, I've never really listened to any podcasts in my life. I don't really even understand how these things work. But it's just fun to talk about Star Trek. So I've kind of found myself doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
But people, from what I've heard, there's a lot of bickering amongst these Star Trek podcasts. And I'm like, I would have thought that everybody would be like best friends and we'd all be like lifting each other up. I mean, we haven't had any problems, luckily, because we just kind of stick to our own bubble. We're very supportive of all podcasts and we're always trying to help, bring them up and help them out and promote whoever. But yeah, we've heard that there's a lot of infighting in certain groups and whatever, and it just sounds silly. We're all just talking about Star Trek, right?
Exactly. And we all, you know what? And I think it's all about finding your niche. And I think there's just so much in the Star Trek universe to cover that you could have like 100 different Star Trek themed podcasts and they could all be talking about 100 different things.
As is the case right now.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly. But let's swing back to what we were talking about. We talked about right before we went live. I double checked with you to see if I could call you a convention veteran. I mean, my first convention, that would be my other cat that just sneezed into the microphone.
Oh, cute. Is that what that was? That's so cute.
Yeah, that was Stevie. He just sneezed into the microphone.
Name 5 musicians with the name Stevie. Stevie Wonder, Stevie Nicks, Stevie Winwood, Stevie B, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I got it. 5.
Look at you.
Woof.
That's impressive. And none of that has anything to do with the cat.
No, good thing I didn't say 6 or I'd be stumped.
There you go.
Anyway.
Hey, but now he's like messing with. I had this so delicately positioned because there's one little part of my blue screen that's not working. And I'm like trying to make it look perfect. In fact, you can't even see Lieutenant Reed because I'm trying to make this so that you can't see that bad corner. Oh, Stevie, now you just made me lose my train of thought. Thank you.
Sorry.
So we were talking about being convention veterans. My first convention was probably in the early 90s, and it was probably a creation event because I have a friend that I met at a New Year's Eve party, and I just remember talking to him and him being really impressed that there was a girl at this party that would sit down and talk about Star Trek. And that's literally how we became friends, was talking about Star Trek. And he's like, so have you ever been to a convention? And I was like, what's a convention? You know, except for the ones that they used to make fun of on Saturday Night Live. So he took me to my first convention. And if I remember correctly, it was one of the New York creation events. And I got hooked. I mean, it just ticked off all of the boxes. I mean, celebrities, comic books, artwork. I mean, how could you not, if any sort of geek / nerd, how could you not just fall in love?
Yeah. I think I definitely went to a convention, and it was probably creation back in Sacramento when I lived in the Bay Area when I was a teenager. Myself, 2 other friends, and then my friend's dad took us to Sacramento because it was like just an hour away. Hi, Kitty. And there were Marina Sirtis, Michael Dorn, and Jonathan Frakes. And we're just like, whoa, our mind was blown.
Yes.
And then suddenly, you know, now 10 years ago, I go to Star Trek Las Vegas, or 12 years ago, or whatever it is. That same friend convinced us to go to that. And it's like, you thought 3 people was a lot. When you go to Star Trek Las Vegas, and it's like 50, 80, 100 people. And you're just like a nerd in a Star Trek convention. I guess that's a pretty good analogy because that's what we were.
It's okay. I got a message for you from one of my viewers. He thought commemorating Life of Aaron on the 7th rule was great. So
thanks very much, Domestic. And thanks for joining in with us. The comments there were amazing. Everybody was super friendly and supportive. And, you know, the thing that Sirach and I like the most about people that are commenting constantly in the live chats is how supportive they are with each other. Like, they're not just supportive with us. In fact, we're kind of just like background noise to these guys. Like somebody pops in, they're like, oh, hey, so-and-so, how's school? Or how's the mom? Is everything okay? And they all just like catching up, and we're like, hello, forget it. You guys have fun. But it's really a great thing to see how lovely and wonderful and supportive they are with each other, which is really more important than anything else. So that's my favorite thing about that.
Yeah, and again, I mean, we can just wind that right back into conventions. I mean, it's such a community. I mean, I used to, when I first started going, obviously I went with friends, and it was great, but you don't really feel that sense of community, to be perfectly honest, until you start going by yourself. And I kind of got out of the convention scene for a while. I had moved away. I moved to Massachusetts in the early 2000s, and there was never an opportunity. I kind of fell out of that entire scene until I moved back here to New Jersey. And even then it took a while to finally get back into it. But then I'm sure I've talked about this on the show before, but what really got me back into Star Trek conventions was the 2016 Creation New Jersey convention, which I literally just stumbled over.
Persephone?
I knew.
Is it Persephone, New Jersey?
Parsippany, no. Creation used to alternate between Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is
Cherry Hill, that's right,
one town over from me, and Parsippany. And the Cherry Hill 2016 was the last one they did in Cherry Hill. The next year they moved it back up to Parsippany.
Got it.
But I didn't even know about it. It's so funny. It's just, fate is so interesting. I had heard that New York was getting a 50th anniversary show for Star Trek. And I remember it was August, and I remember going, there's something going on Star Trek related in New York. What is that? And I Googled it, and Google showed me the Cherry Hill Creation Convention first, and it was coming up that weekend. And I actually had off from work, and I went, well, why would I go to New York City if I could just go down the road?
Right.
And
so you're in New Jersey right now, right?
New Jersey, yep. Mm-hmm. South Jersey. So I just popped over to the hotel. I got a copper ticket, and I popped over for the weekend to go to the 50th. It was perfect because it was 2016. It was the 50th anniversary. And it's where I met Connor and Dominic and Nikki DeBoer. and it's where I met Chase for the first time. And I was by myself, but because I had a copper ticket, I had my assigned seat, and I'm still friends with the guys I was sitting next to. I mean, it's just so it was an incredible experience. Even though I was by myself, I wasn't by myself.
I totally agree with that. Because I went the first few years, like with a group of people, there'd be, I'd go up with these two people, and then this person would fly in and that person would fly in. And like, I had my group. Mm-hmm. And then one year, for one reason or another, she couldn't, she was done. This guy couldn't make it this year. These two couldn't make it. And I almost kind of was like, should I even go? I don't even have anybody to go with. Like, it almost kind of just felt like, well, is it going to even be any fun to go by myself? Like, what am I going to do? But I was like, no, fuck it. Like I'm going to go. I already got my ticket. It's going to be fun. I do know some people, whatever. It was the best year ever. No offense to those other schmucks that didn't go. But I was like, it was so cool because it's true. You're not alone. There's a million nerds, and they all range from a really good friend down to just some guy with Vulcan ears. But right. They're all cool. Like, you like them all. You can float around. You can talk to this person. Then you can go to the vendor's room. Then you can go up to your, hotel room. Best year ever was the year that I went by myself.
Yeah. I mean, I've always worked the Creation Star, except for the first one, except for the one I went to, because like I said, that reignited my passion for conventions was the 50th. And I actually did end up driving up to New York for the day the following week. I went to Mission, New York on Sunday. And that was at the Javits Center. And I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with the Javits Center. It's a huge, huge convention center in New York City. And I didn't like it as much. Again, I like the intimacy of the hotel conventions. And this was just, the Javits Center is massive. And it was packed. And the panel rooms were off to one side, and then there were two, and then there was the one giant room that had the photo ops and everybody doing autographs, and then there was a couple of vendor rooms spread out all over the place. It's too much to kind of traverse because it's so spread out. But that leads me to John Billingsley doesn't know my name, because Connor and Dominic were there again, but that's the first time I met Anthony Montgomery was there, and John Billingsley was there. And what happened was I had talked to Ethan Phillips very briefly in Cherry Hill. I literally bumped into him in the hotel lobby, and I told him I enjoyed his panel. And then it was the first time I saw the Rat Pack, which I was
cool. So good.
I was hooked. But so flash forward to New York, and I went up to John Billingsley, and I thought he was Ethan Phillips because there was something I'd been dying to tell Ethan. And I told it to John, and John goes, "That's Ethan Phillips. I'm John Billingsley." And I went, I am so embarrassed right now. I wanted to crawl away in shame. And John said, "You know what? Don't worry about it. You are not the first person to make that mistake."
Wow, really?
Really. And in fact, he even told me this great story about how he got a box. And I mean, he told me this story. I'm going to assume it's true. He got a box of photos of Ethan Phillip with a request to sign them. And they were delivered to his house. This is what he told me. And I said, "Well, what did you do?" He goes, "Oh, I signed them and sent them back." So there's a bunch of forged Ethan Phillips photos.
He should have signed his own name.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll sign it if you want.
John said he'd forgive me if I went and told Ethan. And so I did. I mean, I still had something I wanted to tell Ethan. So I went over and I said, "Okay, Ethan, two things. There's something I want to tell you from back when you were in New Jersey. But before that, I have to tell you, I thought that you were John Billingsley." He laughed. So yeah, so that's a common mistake. So if you ever go to a convention, the guy that's sitting with the Enterprise group is going to be John Billingsley. If he's sitting with Voyager, it's Ethan Phillips. If he's up on stage singing with the Rat Pack, it's Ethan Phillips.
Right. Telling jokes.
Telling blue off-color jokes. Yes, he does. He does enjoy his raunchy.
Some of his jokes killed me, though. I can think of one right now, but I don't know what your podcast is rated.
You already said fuck, so go ahead. You can joke.
So he said that he's like, what do you call, what is it?
All this build up, I can't remember the joke.
What do you call some nuts on a wall? He says, walnuts. What do you call some nuts on your chest? Chestnuts. He says, what do you call it when you have nuts on your chin? A dick in your mouth. So that is an Ethan Phillips joke, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely an Ethan Phillips joke. Ethan actually did a little bit of stand-up before the New York premiere of What We Leave Behind.
Oh, cool.
What We Left Behind. Yeah, he was there for the premiere, and I guess Ira kind of talked him into coming up and entertaining the crowd before the movie started. And so, yeah, if you ever get a chance to hear Ethan do stand-up, or if you ever go to a Star Trek convention with the Rat Pack, make your plans to leave the next day, because the Rat Pack always closes the show. So always make your plans to leave.
Just the best. It really is. That's one of like the 2 or 3 top highlights of every year. And it's not just because of how great and wonderful it is, but also because it's the last night.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, you're kind of looking back at 5 or 6 days of this amazing, wonderful thing. And you're like, there's this feeling of like, well, this is it. This is the last thing. It's over. I'm just sitting here with my friends over here and my friends up on stage talking. And it's like this beautiful, bittersweet moment. And they're making you laugh and they're singing their songs. And it's just a really nice moment.
It absolutely is. And as of right now, at this moment, and we know with COVID, everything's changing every 5 seconds. STLV is still happening. They have 85 guests. They actually just announced 3 new guests a couple weeks ago. And the Rat Pack is all going to be there. And so hopefully if we all make it.
Speaking of which, here's something convention related that I can announce. I think on Wednesday, we will release an interview with none other than Adam Mallon. The co-CEO. The co-CEO of Creation Entertainment. We interviewed him, and we're just kind of like on the 7th rule. We're just kind of like, hey, let's talk to Adam. Let's see what he has to say, because I love the guy, Sirach loves the guy, and we had a great conversation with him, and we'll be posting that on the 7th rule. So check that out, because he did give us some updates, kind of. That. Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully they're positive updates, because Connor Trinneer owes me a hug. So,
it depends on what you consider positive. Do you consider positive test results for coronavirus, or what are we talking here?
Negative test results, positive news that they're still planning on having STLV, because the Rat Pack room is packed. It's packed every year.
There's won't be packed this year if it goes on, because it's just that convention's not going to be packed. Probably.
Yeah, well, that's true with social distancing and everything. It'll be as packed as social distancing allows. And I don't care where I'll be, I will definitely be there, because according to Jeff Combs and Casey Biggs, there's new material, because they did the cruise and there was new material. So I'm really excited. I adore Jeff Combs. He's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, super talented.
Super, super talented. And he's another one that knows my face. Not sure if he knows my name. Don't care. He knows my face. Oh, okay. So Robert, one of my favorite podcasting people, has joined us. We don't mind that you're late. We're just so good that you're here. In fact, Robert and I met for the first time face-to-face at Rhode Island Comic-Con. So see, conventions are great places to meet people that you only talk to online. STLV's just, my best friend. I have somebody I consider my best friend, and I met her working with her at STLV in 2017. And we only get to see each other once a year because she lives in Seattle.
Oh, well, nice to see you, Robert Plant, with an E, by the way.
Yeah.
No relation to the Led Zeppelin fellow, which I'm sure he's heard many, 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 many times.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he is an incredible Martok cosplayer. And
I thought I saw that in the picture.
Yeah, you did. In fact, when I met him, that's how I knew it was him, because he was just an awesome Martok. He's really, in fact, he's making a Klingon. Last time we talked, which was the end of last season, so I don't know where you are with it, but you were making a command chair. He's making a Klingon command chair.
Wow, cool.
So he sent me some pictures. I got to see it in the beginning stages. But all right, Ryan, now I'm putting you in the hot seat. What's your most embarrassing convention moment that you're willing to share? It doesn't have to be, but do you have like an embarrassing convention moment?
Let me think. Wow, my life can't be that lucky. I've got to have an embarrassing moment. Hang on, I'm just thinking. I'm like, I can't even think of an embarrassing moment at a convention. I mean, I'm sure there must be one. I guess not. I don't know.
You're lucky. I think the John Billingsley one has to probably be the most embarrassing, because I don't think I've ever mistaken one actor for another. So I think, and the fact is like I said, he doesn't remember my name, but when I tell him that story, the light bulb goes off. I'm like, remember New York? I was the one that thought you were Ethan Phillips. Oh yeah. How are you?
Oh, maybe one time when I was in an elevator and I was going up to my room, and I think I was looking down at my phone or something. And then this dude comes in and he's like handing out like flyers. It's like, oh, here, you want, flyers to his new gig or something. And I was like, oh, no, thanks, dude. Whatever. And then my girlfriend at the time, she's like, dude, that's fucking, that's, and I looked up and it was Anthony Montgomery, and I was like, oh, well, whatever. I still don't want his flyer. I was like, whatever, just tell me. But that was kind of funny. Cause I didn't even really look up, there was just somebody peddling flyers.
Yeah, people are peddling flyers. The last thing you want to do is make eye contact.
Yeah, I was just doing my own thing. I wasn't really paying attention. I was like, oh, no, thanks, dude. I'm just going up to my fucking room, so leave me alone. But anyway, so I don't know if that was necessarily embarrassing, but that did remind me of that. Clearly, he didn't hold any hard feelings.
No, he doesn't. All right, so best convention experience.
Boy, well, that entire convention, which was the first one I went by myself, it really just opened my eyes to wow, this is really, it just kind of opened my eyes to what the full convention experience could be like, that you don't need to have an entourage or a best friend or a girlfriend or whatever that's always with you. Where are you going? Okay, meet me here at this time, or what are you doing at this? You could literally just wander around by yourself. You could run into a group of people, or you could not. You could just sit down at a panel and take a break by yourself, or you can meet in with somebody, or you can meet someone new at the bar, Mm-hmm. And that was just such a refreshing revelation of it was actually much more relaxing to not have to worry about what other people are doing. I could just wander around aimlessly like an idiot and not have to worry about anything for a week. And it was just so nice and so freeing and so fun. So that, it's not necessarily an individual moment, but it certainly was a period that opened my eyes. I can't think of a specific exact moment, but it really is nice. I mean, the best aspect is certainly the people that go there, the convention goers. You used to think the reason you go to convention is because I want to see Counselor Troy talking with Commander Riker. Oh my God, I'll be in nerd heaven, Imzadi and stuff, But the truth is, after the first or second or third or fourth or fifth convention, you realize that you're not really going for the panels anymore. That's where you go if you need to just kind of sit down and take a break. You're really just going to reconnect with your friends, to walk to the vendor's room and say hello to your buddies, to party all night at the bar afterwards. To see the incredibly creative cosplay that people come up with. It's so fun. For me, that's the best part,
I think I would have to agree. At this point, I like, and the Mzadi thing is the perfect analogy for me because I was always Mzadi. When we did when my group Lambda Quadrant did the last virtual TrekCon, and we were talking about one of our panels was basically fan fiction and couples, like what couples did you want to see? And
Yeah.
I bet I got mine. I was always just the Mzadi girl. Like there was no other couple in Star Trek that I ever wanted to ship. It was always Riker and Troy. And by the time, and eventually I got that because they got married in Nemesis. I'm like, yay, I finally got my Mzadi thing. So I'm like, I have no, and I've met them both and I've talked to them together and separately. And I'm just, yeah, you know what? They're there. But that's not why I go to see the people that I'm friends with, once a year
Right.
in Vegas is it for me. I mean, I think one of the coolest things was, like I said, I used to work for Creation when I went to the first one in 2017 and the second one in 2018, I worked for Creation both times. And then in 2018, I worked with, the photo op line. And so many people come through that line over the course of 5 days. There are just certain people that come through at least 3 or 4 times a day.
Wow.
First of all I can think of is, dude, what do you do that you have this much disposable income, and are they hiring?
Nerdy stuff pays, man.
You are absolutely right. But then, I went on the cruise in 2019 and there were people that remembered me from the photo op line. They're like, weren't you one of the people on the photo op line? You're like, yeah, hi. Don't remember you, but that's awesome. I just think that's awesome. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting point from Robert. This is very true. I think, especially when you're in Vegas, you just have to kind of come to terms with the fact that there's stuff you're not going to see. That there's just so much going on. There's just stuff. But again, that's kind of nice when you go by yourself, because then you don't have to worry about feeling guilty because your best friend wants to go to this panel and aren't you going to go with them? And you're just like, really don't care about Voyager. I don't need to go to a Voyager panel. That's my prime example. Anything Voyager, I don't.
Is Voyager your least favorite series?
Voyager is my least favorite series. Garrett Wang is funny as anything. I love talking to him, but not a big fan of it. And Ethan. But I just never liked the show.
You even like Picard and Lower Decks and Discovery and the animated series above Voyager.
Yep.
Wow. So Voyager is like number 9 out of 9, basically.
Yeah.
Which one is 7 out of 9? 7 of 9.
Ha ha ha. 7 of 9.
Lower Decks.
No, because Lower Decks finally got around to Enterprise references. So they're okay now.
I want to know what 8 of 9 and 7 of 9 are.
I'd have to say the animated series is probably down there, but that's only, I haven't sat down and I watched it when I was a kid, and I know that I watched like one episode on Netflix one night when I was bored. So I'd have to say, only because I haven't sat down and really rewatched it, the animated series is down there. God, see, I really haven't actually sat down and ranked them. I just know what I know where my favorite is, and I know what my least favorite is. And then it's like asking me who my favorite doctors are. I mean, there's 13 of them. It's hard to rank past like the top 4.
Really? That stuff is fun for me. But I don't watch Doctor Whom.
Oh, don't you? Well, you should. David
Tennant's
Tennant's actually talking about wanting to do Star Trek. So, all right, let's see. What does Domestic have to say? Oh, there you go. That is huge when one of the celebrities sits down and has a conversation with you. That's amazing, and I've been lucky, and I've had that happen on more than one occasion. So That's great when they do take the time out to talk to you. And in all of our Convention 101 panels that I've ever done here and with Lambda Quadrant, I always say if you can find a topic that isn't necessarily Star Trek related, you have a better chance of having a conversation with the celebrities. Just because they talk Star Trek for 5 days, every now and then they like something a little different.
Right.
In fact, last year when I met Carolyn McCormick, who was Minuet.
Okay.
I actually wanted to talk to her about Law and Order because she had a recurring character for many, many, many seasons on Law and Order. She played Dr. Olivet, the psychiatrist, and she was actually in my favorite episode of Law and Order. So I wanted to talk to her about that. So we had a lovely conversation about Dick Wolf and the writing for Law and Order.
Dick Wolf with an E too.
Yes, Dick Wolf with it. No, I don't think so. Is
I
it?
don't know. I thought so. I've never seen Law and Order though.
Here's a question, and from Magic Lasso, and I know your interest in Chris Pine is Wonder Woman related and not Star Trek related, but as far as I know, he's never done a convention. Maybe. Did he do one? Why am I thinking he might have done one?
I've never seen him do one.
But
You're right. There's no E in Dick Wolf, so I lose that one.
Sorry. Yeah. So, all right. So here's something not convention related, but it's something I wanted to ask you the other day, and I didn't get a chance when you guys were reviewing. I went to your review of the last episode of Lower Decks.
Okay.
So episodes 5, 6, and 7 all had Enterprise references in them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, episode 5 was pretty obvious because the Trip Tucker sprinkles comment.
That's fun.
Was fun.
It was like a Kirk Sunday with
Trip Tucker sprinkles,
yeah.
And I thought now there's a topic to talk to Connor about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch the one in the following episode with the space junk?
Space junk. Okay, I remember. Okay. With JG doing the voice of that alien. Okay. You'd have to tell me, and I would tell you if I remember.
That one where they were talking about, well, what do they expect to find? Why is Starfleet so interested? What do you expect to find? And the one guy was rattling off all these different things you could find in space debris, and one of the things he said was cryogenically frozen princess.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's from an episode. Somebody told me that one, though. I didn't catch that one.
That was from an episode called Precious Cargo, where Padme Lakshmi played a cryogenically frozen princess that Trip saved.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then this last one's kind of, you have to be kind of like a deep fan.
Ooh, well, that one was pretty deep.
That one was pretty deep.
I didn't catch that one until somebody told it to me last week.
Okay, so in this last episode, when Mariner was in the ready room talking to her friend, and she was grabbing stuff off the captain's shelf, and she picked up a pineapple.
No, I missed that one.
Don't know what the significance of a pineapple is.
I haven't watched Enterprise since it first came out.
Oh wow!
I have not watched it since. That was.
Except
2004, 2005.
Except that you just rewatched the first episode for the review that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple is Lieutenant Reed's favorite food. It was the B story of an episode in the first season.
Oh, I wonder why pineapple is his favorite food.
I'm
not touching that one though.
It was the B story of an entire episode called Silent Enemy.
An entire B plot around pineapples.
It was the entire B plot was Malcolm's birthday, and Hoshi was in charge of figuring out what Reed's favorite food was so that they could make him dinner or something.
That's so fun. I wish I remember that episode. What season was it in?
First season, so it's called Silent Enemy. It's somewhere in the middle, and somewhere in the middle of the season. And Hoshi is having the worst time because, they call his parents. His parents don't have an idea. His best friend has no idea. His sister, nobody knows what his favorite food is. And then Hoshi gets so fed up, she goes to Dr. Phlox thinking, and thinking maybe there's something in your taste buds or something, and Flock said no, there's no like scientific explanation for it. But then he tells her that Reed gets regular shots for an allergy he has to a plant enzyme. And she says plant enzyme. He says he has a plant enzyme, and she goes, well, the enzyme, and he said the enzyme's in pineapples. So she figured if he's got this allergy but he's taking shots regularly just so he can eat pineapples, it must be his favorite food.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah. So it was the entire B story of that particular episode.
I like it. I like little B stories like that have like, just like the character kind of stuff where it's not necessarily involving big aliens or explosions. It's just kind of like, what's Reed's favorite fruit? Or what's, or like Worf in Parallels where Riker says, Mr. Worf, a surprise party? I would never do that to you. And then later on he goes, I love surprise parties. Or little things like that. I love that stuff.
Yep. All right. So back on to convention talk. This is from Robert. Back in the 90s when he met Jonathan and Marina. Oh, you actually dressed as somebody besides Martok. I'm impressed. That's great. Yeah, Marina's funny. She is incredibly funny.
Sassy.
I love her. Very sassy. Her panel that she did in Star Trek New Jersey in 2017 was hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. And on this note, domestic, I can completely agree with you. I cannot watch the last episode either. I actually, Heroes and Icons, they run it in order every night at midnight except Saturday nights. And when it comes around to These Are the Voyages, I skip it. I watch something else.
Why? Is it because it's sad or because you didn't like those episodes?
Because These Are the Voyages is such a terrible episode.
Thought so. I thought that's what you meant.
It is such a terrible episode. It's
speaking of Riker and Troy.
Yes, speaking of Riker and Troy, it is a terrible episode. For a half a second, I lost the beat on that one. In fact, Google was just showing me there's an article out there, like the 10 Star Trek episodes that pissed off fans or something, and the picture that they use is from that episode. And I didn't bother to read the article because I'm like, These Are the Voyages. It's got to be, if it's not number one, it should have been.
It did feel kind of insulting. I think where they went tone deaf on that is that you use cameos of, like, as Armin Shimmerman called it once, greatest hits. Like when you bring in the greatest hits, like when Worf goes to Deep Space Nine or whatever, they use that to boost ratings, right? And why are you boosting ratings? Well, to get people to watch the show, to get people to watch next season, this and that. But if it's at the series finale, there's no need for that because you're not trying to boost ratings anymore. It's over. It's done. You don't need a gimmick. You don't need to like hook people to watch next season. It's over. So I think that's where they kind of messed up, is that it's kind of counterproductive to do that on the final episode.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was such an insult, I think, to the cast of Enterprise. In fact, I've seen people say in the Enterprise rooms where it almost makes the entire 4 seasons feel like it was all a holodeck program.
It was all just a dream.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And Brandon Braga has even said at the first STLV I went to,
Aaron's face is magical.
Oh,
My lime flavored bubbly.
There you go. That's awesome. The first STLV that I did I was working the auditorium, so I actually had no choice but to get to see all the panels. And somebody had asked Brandon about it, and I mean, to this day, he's still apologizing for it. And he says maybe it would have worked if they had gotten a 5th season. Then that episode, as bad as it was, it would have been
nothing. Yeah, if they had a 5th season, that wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, exactly. But to have had that as the last episode was just it was such a
tone deaf. It was, look, they swing and they miss sometimes. No, and I don't hate them for it. They went with an idea. They thought it was cool. It was kind of cool, but it didn't really work. It didn't really hit the mark. It was a swing and a miss. It's okay. You sometimes you hit a home run, sometimes you strike out. That one didn't quite do it.
Yeah,
if they had the 5th season that we would have loved to see, then yeah, it wouldn't have stung at all.
Right, exactly, and that's the problem, was that it was the series finale, and then so it's living on in infamy. Is what it's doing. Yeah, I mean Terra Nova and Demons and Terra Prime, the 2-parter with Section 31 and all that would have been, and the baby, the cloned baby that Trip and T'Pol had, that would have been a really good like season 4 and then season 5 opener or something, but they never got the season 5. So.
I just really wish we had a season 5. That bums me out. Like, the 2 biggest wishes I would say is a season 5 of Enterprise and a Deep Space Nine movie. I think those would be the 2 things I'd really want to see, more than Voyager season 8 or Next Generation season 8 or Chris Pine Star Trek 4 or like I could survive without those, but like boy did I wish we had an Enterprise season 5, because I feel like season 3 of Enterprise kind of started where season 1 should have been. Like, those first 2 seasons didn't really do too much. They should have started at season 3, and then season 4 finally got into the stuff that we thought the series was going to be about. Mm-hmm. And then it ended. Right. And we're like, but this is why we've been watching.
Yeah.
At least for me.
No, I totally agree with you. I feel like, it's my favorite show. And right now it's with Discovery and Picard, we don't know how far they're going to go. So we'll see if they pass it. But right now, Enterprise could end up being the show with the shortest.
Well, original series was only 3 seasons too.
Oh, well, that's true. I keep forgetting that. I don't know why I keep forgetting that TOS was only 3. I think just because it's just so ever present.
They had a lot of movies. They had 6 movies. So
that's true.
7 really. 6 and a half.
Yeah. But I mean, who really counts Star Trek 5?
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's see. I love talking to you because obviously we can talk Enterprise. And that's, I'm always up for talking Enterprise, even though this technically is not specifically an Enterprise podcast. It is still kind of themed around Enterprise. And whenever I can talk about Enterprise, it's good. All right. So my favorite, I don't think we got to like my favorite convention moment. But I think my favorite convention moments in general is when I get to sing karaoke.
I was waiting to bring that up too. That's when I said that the Rat Pack is one of the 2 or 3 biggest highlights. The reason I didn't say it was number 1 is because there was that voice in my head that was like, well, what about karaoke? Because karaoke's up there too. So those are the 1A and 1B there.
Well, do you sing karaoke, or you just like to go and watch us?
I just soak up the good vibes. I just sit there and watch people on stage, and I sing along to people, and we jump for joy, and we say, great job, even though it's not usually a great job.
Unless I'm singing.
And we have a drink with our friends, and we sit down and we cheer people on, and then we go in the front and we take pictures with our friends. It's just like, especially because it's usually towards the beginning of the convention.
Right.
So it's kind of like the beginning of it. I miss it. The more we talk about it, the more I miss it.
I know, because there's just certain things. Virtual conventions have helped fill the gap, but they're still very communal because of the chats. But there's just, you can't really karaoke virtually. But I think my favorite moment, because I can narrow this down. I mean, I love singing karaoke. I do it every year. I usually get in, which is nice. Was in 2017 was the second time that I did karaoke with Connor and Dominic. But I remember it was so funny because I got up on stage. I decided to sing the theme song. I decided to be brave and sing the theme song for the first time in front of like Star Trek fans, knowing that a lot of people don't like it. And I got up and
it's okay if some people don't like it. You just got to have faith.
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, not falling into that trap. Besides the fact the title, when it's the theme to Enterprise, is Where My Heart Will Take Me, not Faith of the Heart. Not that anybody ever pays attention, but anyway. But I got up on stage, and I'd already tried to, Connor had already told me earlier in the day he wasn't going to sing it with me, and that's fine. And I get up on stage, and Connor's like, Stephanie's going to sing, Where My Heart Will Take Me. And Dominic's sitting over on the side, and he goes, is that our theme song? And I said, you want to sing it? He said, no. And so I started, I'm like, fine, I'll do it by myself. And I sang it. And when I got to the chorus, all of a sudden I hear something, I look over, and Dominic decided he was going to sing it with me anyway. So that was probably the coolest. And a friend of mine was supposed to tape it on her phone, and her phone was an old iPhone, and it didn't have enough memory. So to this day, there is one little snippet that is alive and well on Instagram of the very end of that performance.
Thank goodness for Instagram.
Thank goodness for. I actually reached out to this guy, and I'm like, is really that all you have of the video of that? And he said, yeah, that's all he got. So if you look under the hashtag on Instagram, hashtag Faith of the Heart, and scroll through, you'll see a little video. You can see the videos because it has little play buttons on top of them as opposed to pictures, but it's still in there. So want to see my little performance with Dominic, it's on there. And I've sung it since. He just hasn't sung it with me. So that was probably the coolest karaoke memory. But I do love to get up and do karaoke. And for those of us, there's also Klingon karaoke, which JG and Bob O'Reilly will get into full Klingon garb and do karaoke at STLV, which is always fun.
And right above that, Robert Plant reminds us that the animated series only had 2 seasons.
Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
There's only 26 episodes. I think one season had like 20 episodes. The other one had 6 or something like that. But that was a short one as well.
I never saw Aaron. I absolutely believe you, but I missed seeing Aaron at karaoke. I actually only do Enterprise karaoke. I've popped by to see Jay.
What?
I don't.
You snob. You karaoke snob.
No, I will go. I will go to Klingon karaoke, but I don't think it's fair to try and sing 2 nights in a row when there's so many people that want to sing. So I don't bother to sign up for Klingon karaoke. I only sign up at Enterprise. But I mean, I'll pop by Klingon karaoke and hang out and cheer for people and sing along if it's a sing-along song. But I don't sign up to sing. I only sign up to sing for Enterprise.
They're all sing-along songs.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. But yeah, karaoke has to be my favorite. I can't. That's one of the things. But you got to figure that if STLV happens, the chances of karaoke happening are probably slim and none. Only from a sharing a microphone kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, singing in proximity to other people is one of the worst things you could do. Singing, chanting, yelling, talking loudly, laughing, coughing, anything where you're projecting is pretty much the worst.
And you
What a
can't.
bummer. Oh, why'd you tell me that? I hadn't thought of that.
Well, I mean, they do have the Masked Singer on Fox. Maybe they can figure out a way to do masked karaoke at STLV.
I hate wearing masks. I hate it so much. So what I do is I just never go out because I'm like, I hate wearing a mask, so I'm just never going to go out. And then when I do, I put on the mask grudgingly and then I take it off as soon as I can. So I'm thinking, if STLV is probably going to be a mask mandate.
No, I'm sure.
And that's going to be, I'm going to be like the whole time. I'm going to be like,
but you're gonna go, right?
I don't know. I haven't missed a year since I started going.
Same here.
I would like to go, but I guess I'll just kind of have to see how things progress. I mean, I do know that the Vegas numbers have been still going down as far as cases and deaths.
Right.
In all of Nevada. They've been going down, which is shocking because I thought that they'd be skyrocketing up when they opened up the casinos, but it didn't. It went up a little bit and then it's been going down. Now, of course, this will be in December. So by then, the seasonal situation will push it back up. So I have a feeling that we might look at this and say, Vegas starting to look pretty good. We're down to like 10 cases a day or something like that.
Right.
then once October and November hit, it just goes, and then they go, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
We got to
exactly. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my toes. I can't not have an STLV, but I mean, I love Vegas. On top of everything else, I love Las Vegas. So, I already had to put my birthday plans on hold once because they canceled August. So I'm hoping for a chance to do at least one or two makeup activities. Besides, we have not met in real life.
Speaking of Enterprise, I just got a text from Gary Graham, who plays Ambassador Saval.
And how is Gary and Maui and all that
He's
stuff?
doing great. He just sent me a lot of ha 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 all in all caps because I sent him something funny earlier.
Well, you have to bug Gary about coming on my show.
All right, I'll bug him.
Bug him about Sirach has said yes. I asked Sirach recently, and Sirach has said yes. So you guys can look forward to a Jake Sisko night here on the NX 7062 podcast.
Jake and Saval together at last.
If that's what it takes to get Gary on here, I mean, I already had Eric Pierpoint on last year. And for those of you that don't know, Gary and Eric's were co-stars of Alien Nation.
That's cool.
Which was an amazing, 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 amazing show that I am absolutely in love with. And then they both ended up having Star Trek on their resume. So they had that in common. So Eric was already on here talking about Alien Nation and Star Trek and everything else that he's been doing. So Gary can come on. We'll talk about Star Trek, but you know what? He can talk about whatever he wants. He can talk about his music. He's just can't talk about being in Maui too much.
Yeah.
It's the one.
He's a good guy. He likes everybody. I've never seen him not smile when he sees somebody. He's just always like, he just always has that $1 million smile, especially like on set. When he's doing an acting gig, he's just always smiling. Hey, I'm a smiley guy. Hey, everybody.
I mean, I met him twice, 2 years in a row at Vegas, and he's exactly. He's with a quick smile, and he loves talking to everybody. He's just one of those. He's one of those actors that if you get a chance to sit down and talk to him, walk up to his table, you could probably have a really great conversation with him. Yeah. So I'm hoping he'll make it to STLV. I know he's on the confirmed list, but I also understand that things change. So
yeah. We'll
but everybody, let's keep our fingers crossed for STLV, but that means let's keep our fingers crossed that everybody stays healthy and the numbers keep going down. And even if Ryan has to wear a mask, Ryan has to come. It just won't be the same without you.
I know. I do miss it very much.
If you're exposed while wearing a mask, it can reduce how severely. Oh, see, there it goes. See?
Oh, really? I didn't know that. It actually affects how badly the virus hits you. That's interesting.
It is interesting. It is very interesting. But there's this great meme that I actually shared with on the Lambda Quadrant page today with Kirk and Bones wearing a mask, and they basically said, wear your mask or wear a red shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
That's a bit of misinformation there, because the main reason we wear a mask is to protect other people more so than ourselves. But the joke is still there, and it's still funny, and we still get
exactly. And it's like, it's a meme. Anybody that takes medical advice from a meme.
I know. And people do.
People do. But anyway, if everybody within the sound of my voice would please wear a mask, then STLV has a better chance of happening. Mm-hmm. Let's look at it that way. We'll have a better chance of coming out of this. But Ryan, I know you have to get going because you did let me know that I couldn't monopolize your entire evening, unfortunately, this time.
Not this time.
But you know what? You are always, always, always welcome back. Anytime.
Thanks. It's always a great time. It's always fun.
Absolutely. And you know what? Maybe I'll have you back again. I think we can arrange that at some point. So
cool little scrolling thing.
You like my little
crawler?
Oh,
yeah. I need to learn how to do that stuff.
Yeah, I will give you a StreamYard tutorial whenever you'd like one.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that actually, and I never used it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and you saw my little intro. I finally figured out how to do my intro.
Yeah, I haven't figured that out either.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm such a novice.
Well, I am more than happy to give you a tutorial anytime. So we are back. We are live. every Monday night, 10 East. This is the only place you're going to see me live. As far as Spreaker goes, I will be ripping audio, and I will be posting it as a podcast. Like I said earlier, I will be posting it as a podcast, an audio podcast on Spreaker. But it was just too complicated to try and multitask and do an audio and a video at the same time. So
sounds like some kind of new wave metal band. Spreaker ripping audio.
If you and Gary decide to do a new band together, I want 10%. If that's what you name the band, that's all I'm saying.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, live here every Monday, 10 o'clock. If you haven't already, subscribe so that way YouTube will remind you to join me here every Monday live.
And hit the bell icon, and then they'll send you a notification when she goes live.
There you go. Thank you. See, I'm more of a novice on YouTube, so we can help each other out. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great week and live long and prosper.
Hey, this is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX7062 podcast with Stephanie. Enjoy your evening.
NX7062 podcast.
Yeah, that was